All right, thoracic extension, PAILs and rails. This is a really great exercise, especially for you guys who love to squat. Usually I'll add this one in in just a couple of rounds, especially if I know that I got a particular athlete who's going to be squatting that day. So whether you're doing barbell back squats, max effort, dynamic effort, repetition effort, this is a great drill. It's going to help you kind of figure out what's involved in keeping a solid position during the squat, right? So if you're new to PAILs and rails, essentially we're going to be creating tension. Kind of my rule of thumb, when the first round is going about 30 seconds, ramping up to about 70% effort on that contraction, on that PAILs contraction. So once we're done with that 30 seconds, right, we're gonna go right into the rails or pulling ourselves into a deeper position. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second, okay? So I might go another 30 seconds and trying to pull myself into deeper range using active tension. The bench is going to help support me, especially with my elbows and allow me to create some tension as well. And then once I'm done with that 30 seconds of kind of creating that active or that rails contraction, I'm going to relax in that knee range and just go big, deep breaths in through my nose, out through my mouth, or however you like to practice your diaphragmatic breathing. From there, we're going to go a second round, and I like to ramp up intensity, and in some cases, I might ramp up the intervals for the time, okay? Just kind of depending, again, on the exercise, or the targeted joint or muscle intended. So on the second round, let's use this one as an example since we're here. On that second round, we're going to ramp up to safest, greatest effort, or as much tension as you can create without compromising your position or taking yourself to a place of pain. All right. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to go elbows on the bench. And then from here, right, I'm going to pull myself, and I can place my hands on the back of my head. I just don't want to push my head forward, right? I want to think about lightly tapping, right, my fingers to the back of my head, or I can create a little bit more tension from my hands and not touch my head at all, okay? So I'm going to reach back, right? You're going to feel a lot of this in the lats, right? So I'm not going to take myself out to my end range right now. I might back off about 10 to 20%, right, to make sure that as I'm ramping up tension in that first round, again, I'm able to own my position, right? And that's what this is all about. So again, taking myself to about 80% range, keeping my abs tight, and now I'm going to start pushing into the bench with my elbows. Again, making sure that I'm not flaring my rib cage and I'm not in flexion, to the point of where I'm now not really working that position. I want to keep a nice neutral spine. And again, start creating that tension, just ramping up to about 70%, and then I pull myself into deeper range, right? And the nice thing about having the bench and using the floor, right, is that I can kind of scoot myself back a little bit more. And I'm pulling myself into a deeper position, right? And I'm thinking about lifting my elbows away from the bench, right, on that rails contraction, okay? So it's almost like I'm doing this, but I'm also sitting back with my hips a little bit more, right, kind of mimicking that squat, right, and creating that active tension to pull me into a deeper extended pattern, okay? In that thoracic spine anyway. So once I'm done with that rails contraction, like I mentioned before, I'd breathe, right? Practice that diaphragmatic breathing for another 30 seconds, and then I'd start that second round, and I might go 45 seconds on this one, right? So I took myself into that deeper range, and then I'm gonna slowly start to ramp up tension with about the final 15 or 20 seconds at max effort. Then pulling myself into a deeper range if possible, or maintaining my position, right, and trying to get a little bit more lift off right, from the bench with my elbows. Again, as long as you are able to maintain your position and you're not in pain, you know, it's going to be successful, right? So creating that active tension, right, to support whatever position that you're trying to master. Okay, so in this case, thoracic extension. All right. So make sure that you're breathing. You're being mindful of where you know, your spine is going. Are you keeping your abs tight? Is your neck nice and neutral, or is it gliding forward? Okay. So remember, always think, right, neutral spine, right, and keeping those abs tight as you get back into your position, right? So this is drastically going to improve your squat for sure and allow you to create a little bit more tension and freedom, right, in that thoracic extension.